So that's Kia ora koutou, Simon Bowden from Manatū Taonga. And Josie Glesson, welcome. Kia ora. We're going to get into our live Q&A session about Te Urungi, the Innovation Fund here at Manatū Taonga shortly. We're just going to let the audience build up a little bit first. And this lovely day in Wellington. It's kind of a little bit grey today.
It is. I hope it's warm wherever you guys are. And start introducing yourself in the comments threads if you like, and we'll give you a shout out. It'd be great to see who's listening to us and watching us today.
Aye.
Kia ora.
Yeah.
And shoot through your questions too.
Manatū Taonga is on the corner of Stout Street and Lambton Quays. So at about midday today we had the sounds of children walking past in the climate change march. I think I might have heard my son's voice from all the way up here.
Oh, wishful thinking.
Yeah, he was making a lovely sign this morning, so that's very good of him.
Proud of our rangatahi.
Yeah, out there doing that. And we're also sitting in front of this beautiful Richard Killeen.
Yes.
Yeah, some wonderful artworks at Manatū Taonga. Very lucky to see.
All right, what do you think? Shall we kick off, Simon?
Shall we kick off? Yes.
Let's do it.
E nā mana, e nā reo, tihei mauri ora. E nā iwi o nā hau, e whā tēnā koutou. Ko Simon Bowden tōko ingoa, he kai tohu au ki Manatū Taonga. Haere mai koutou ki te karakia o Manatū Taonga. The karakia, if you would like to speak along, is in the comments. Tikina atura te putake o ngā kōrero, e runga e te rangimārie ki nākau titikaha, ki mau ki te hono nā tangata, whakamaua ki a tīna, hui e, tae ki e. The karakia speaks of connection and the importance of discussion in a peaceful space and was written especially for Manatū Taonga.
Beautiful.
Kia ora, Josie, would you like to introduce yourself?
E hara hau e te tangata mōhio ki te kōrero o te rā e tika ana kia mihi atu kia mihi mai. Ko waio, he uri ahau no te ao pauri me te raroa ki te taho tōku mama, ki te taho tōku pāpa, he tangata tiriti ia, e noho ana au i te whanganui a tara. He kaimahi au i te Creative HQ. Ka huri au i nāi e te reo Pākehā. I work for Creative HQ and we're supporting Manatū Taonga to deliver Te Urungi events. Should we kick off?
Kia ora, yeah. And I'm Simon Bowden. I'm the Principal Advisor Sector at Manatū Taonga in the Regeneration Funds team here at the Ministry. And the Innovation Fund, which is what we are talking about today, and taking your questions. As Josie has said, please put your questions into the comments and then we'll do our best to answer them for you. If we have too many questions, we can't quite get to them all, then that is fine. You will be able to get an answer via the comments. And also there could be another chance to put your question if you came to this event, which we're repeating on Monday at 7 p.m. Now, the Innovation Fund is one of 3 funds that's in the Cultural Regeneration Fund portfolio that the Ministry is running. The total amount of funds that the government put aside to support the cultural sector during this time is around about 360 million. A lot of those funds are being distributed by agencies such as Creative New Zealand, New Zealand on Air, New Zealand Film Commission and the New Zealand Music Commission. 150 million of those funds is being looked after by the Ministry under 3 categories. All of information about this is available on the Manatū Taonga website, and I also suggest that you sign up if you haven't already to support.culture@mch.govt.nz. Sorry, that's the email address. You should also on the website sign up to support.culture so you receive regular emails about our funds from us. So on the website you'll find out there's 3 funds. The first is called Capability, the second is called Care, and the third is called Innovation. And innovation is what we're here to talk about today. But just to put it into context for you, The Capability Fund was designed to support individual practitioners, arts, culture and heritage practitioners and organisations with some programs to assist them to develop their capability to be able to carry on with their mahi and be resilient under the changes and the challenges of COVID-19. The Care Fund is about ensuring as much as we can that there is employment opportunities for practitioners, and there's also events and activities for the people of Aotearoa to go and attend. The Care Fund is broken into a number of streams, and some exciting news if you haven't seen it already. The Care Fund's cultural installations and events has launched today, and you literally can go onto the website right now, press apply now and apply for that fund if you're interested in doing so. Information about that is, like I say, on the website, but essentially it's to give practitioners the opportunity to produce events in publicly accessible spaces for the people of Aotearoa all around the motu. Pretty exciting. Now let's talk about innovation, which is pretty exciting too. Yeah. So the Innovation Fund, the Manatū Taonga went and talked to some representatives of the sector last year and said, how do we go about this plan, this idea of exploring innovation with the people of Aotearoa, with practitioners in Aotearoa, to see if we can improve the way that the arts, culture and heritage is created, supported and accessed in Aotearoa. And people in the sector said, we think when it comes to innovation, you should do things a little bit differently. We think that you should create an environment which is collaborative, gives everybody a chance to come together in a supportive environment to develop ideas. So that is essentially what we're going to be talking about today. And with everything else, there's lots of information about it on the website. Now, last year was tough. COVID-19 hit the cultural sector hard, but at that time we all witnessed a significant amount of innovation going on in the sector. People worked out how to sustain their practice from lockdown. They worked out how to connect with audiences during lockdown. There was a significant amount of innovation out there. And we know that there is lots more. And this program in many ways is about unlocking that potential. The other part of that I was going to say, it's gone out of my head.
So,
Last.
That's all right.
There was another piece to that.
I reckon I'm going to channel a couple of my broadcasting shearers, Mihi Ngārangi Forbes and Moana Maniapoto. And Simon, I'm going to redirect you with some tough questions here. So, Simon, one of our whānau out there has asked us, what kinds of innovative projects will Manatū Taonga fund? Can you talk to that?
I can. But I think before we talk to that, we might just go a bit more detail into the program. And you know, that thought that's escaped me, it's not coming back. It'll come back later. Yeah. So the total value of the Innovation Fund is $60 million, and it's to be spread out over 3 years. It's dedicated to supporting arts, cultural and heritage projects, or that sector, in the recovery of COVID-19 and after. Its focus is supporting projects that safeguard mātauranga Māori and nurturing it and supporting its innovative potential. It is also about finding ways to create more sustainability within the cultural sector and more resilience within the cultural sector. It seeks to support those that would like to explore ways of getting more commercial outcomes from their practice, or from the practice from arts, culture and heritage initiatives. And it looks deeply at whether or not there's new ways that the people of Aotearoa and beyond can access the arts. And that's an audience focus, a general audience focus, but it also has a lens on it which says who is currently missing out, who cannot currently access cultural practice, cultural experiences, and what kinds of ways could we connect with them. We're going to go right around Aotearoa to 14 regions. with a series of events where you can register to come to an event in your region, come together and have a weekend experience where ideas are developed and then shared with Manatū Taonga to get support in order to be developed to try and solve some of these big problems and create opportunities for us. The events are called Te Urungi, and Te Urungi references the steering paddle of a waka haurua. And the paddle, it's a paddle, but it goes right down through the waka haurua, and this is where you steer the waka through the waves, through the challenges on the big voyage.
And the beautiful video that our whānau might have seen out there about Te Urungi, Innovating Aotearoa, the fund, it's got a really beautiful picture that shows Te Urungi right in the middle.
That's right, yeah. It's a beautiful symbol. And it symbolises agility, stability, yeah. And Te Urungi is the idea that is helping us guide and form what people will come through when they come into the space. The events are for individuals and for teams, but it's likely that people will form teams within the events. We expect people with quite a different range of skills and background and experiences to attend. You might be a deep thinking cultural practitioner that has an idea that you would like to develop, or you could be somebody from the entrepreneur tech innovative sector who has a deep interest in developing, supporting culture and giving people access to it. In association with the events, people that attend will have the opportunity to share the idea that they've developed with support over the weekend with Manatū Taonga, with an evaluation panel, and they will be able to seek some financial support for that. And that's going to happen in two ways. The first way is that you might receive seed funding, which is up to $20,000, and that's for the development of an idea which you could perhaps take to angel investors, to market, look for funding from other sources, or possibly even come back to Manatū Taonga and have the opportunity to apply for what we call full project funding. And full project funding is the other part that's available to projects. And this includes people that attend the weekend events, the 14 ones that we're running around the country, and also people that attend 2 online events that we're going to have. The first online event, which we'll talk a little bit about more in a moment, is specifically for people who have projects that are developed to the point where they feel they can apply for full funding. There's actually no limit on how much money you can apply for in this particular fund. But of course, the amount of investment from Manatū Taonga relative to the impact will be taken into account. I think that's a good... Is that an overview? You think we've got it?
That was a good overview. Shall I ask that really directive question for a second time, Simon? What kinds of innovation projects will you fund?
Okay. So just to repeat the first three, four really important elements of this. So the first one is to increase sustainability and resilience within the sector. The world of innovation is always changing. It's moving fast all the time.
Aitika.
Yeah. We want to be a little bit careful about not actually trying to talk to people about what all the ideas might be, because we know that the ideas are out there to unlock.
Yes.
But this notion, this idea of what can we build, what can we do, what can we create, whether it's some sort of new business idea or whether it's an open source project or something that enables more sustainability. So this means it's easier to be an artist, it's easier to be a cultural practitioner, it's easier to access the things you need to be a practitioner, it's easier to be an organisation, you can be more effective as an organisation, and also, importantly, more resilient. Because sustainability, the world's going to change, there may be another shock, there may be something else that goes on. So what kinds of ideas do you have that will create more sustainability and resilience in the sector?
Kia ora.
The second one is around commercial opportunities. Now, commercial opportunities are, of course, activities that increase income that can flow to practitioners, organisations, people in the cultural sector through the market. So what ideas have we got out there that can grow the amount of money available to cultural practitioners and organisations through that market mechanism? And the last one, as we were talking about before, is access and participation. New ways for people to participate in the arts. Think about the people of Aotearoa, what can they experience, how can they experience it. I remember during lockdown, the explosion of digital content and how we were able to engage with things from our living room. And I know that some people found that was it's quite profound, even when they were removed from the kanuri, the face-to-face experience. And especially for some people who actually struggle to be out and about in community and crowds and audiences. And there they were able to engage with it. The innovative world is not limited to digital, is it?
No.
It could be any space or anything. But this idea is about who struggles to have access to cultural content at the moment, and how do we bring our cultural content to wider audiences in Aotearoa and potentially the world. Let's think big. This commercial opportunity may be related to international markets.
Oh, kia ora, Simon. I think we're getting some questions coming through about what you can say about dates you're coming to towns around Aotearoa.
Yes, we can say that.
Thanks, whānau out there.
Okay, so we can announce, or we have announced on our website already, that the Wellington event has been confirmed. That will be in Porirua at Pātaka. And I want to acknowledge Ngāti Toa, who is supporting this event. We had a wonderful time, didn't we, at Ngāti Toa in Marae?
Ai, mihi nunui kia koutou ngā tangata o Ngāti Toa rangatira o te manaakitanga o te hui.
Yeah. So that is from the 30th of April to the 2nd of May. And registrations open for that at 10 a.m. on the 14th of April. We also have announced the date of the online event. So it's a two-stage process for the online event. You would attend on the 12th of May, and then if you had an idea that you wanted to share with Manatū Tonga seeking full project support, then you would need to be available on the 26th or possibly the 27th of May as well. Now, other venues, I can tell you where we're going to go, but we haven't decided quite where we're going to go, when we're going to go to venues yet, because we are working with local communities and finding out when the best time is for them. But we will be heading to Manawatu Whanganui, to Southland, Otago, Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland, Taranaki, Melbourne Nelson region, Hawke's Bay, Bay of Plenty, West Coast, Northland, Gisborne, Waikato and Canterbury.
Hope that helps whānau.
Yeah. And that will be mainly through 2021. Our ambition is to get to all of those places in 2021, but some may go through into 2022.
Now, you started talking a little bit at the start of our hui about the online sessions and the real life sessions. And for some of our creators out there, you might be kind of wondering what's the difference. And you mentioned more developed projects versus perhaps individual or team ideas that might need quite a bit more development. Did you want to unpack that a little bit? We've also had a couple of questions come through talking about, which one should I go to? Yeah.
So, good question, Josie. Thank you for asking.
Me making a little.
So, the regional events, which have a limit of 80 people, are a fully immersive occasion in a highly supported environment, a very special environment, which we'll talk about soon, for people who have an idea about how to increase sustainability and resilience, commercialisation, access, or the transmission, support and nurturing of Mātauranga Māori, to come into this environment to develop their idea. Your idea does not have to be hugely developed to attend this particular weekend. You need to have ambition. You need to know that if you are involved in an idea that gets perhaps support from Manatū Tonga or a team develops around it, that you will have some time to be able to contribute to it. Those things are important. But you won't necessarily have a fully fledged idea developed, possibly a prototype already somewhere, and you probably won't have in your back pocket a fully developed business plan for that project. However, if you wanted to attend the first online event, and the settings on the second online event later in the year haven't quite been set yet, but this particular first one is specifically targeted at organisations, teams who have quite a developed idea, potentially have a business plan with them already. When they come to that online event, they will go through a supportive process as well, with support from the team at Creative HQ, implementing tools and things to test that idea, but given in an environment that we expect that the idea would be reasonably well developed to be at that event.
Kia ora, and is this the same, there's the same information available on the Manatū Taonga website?
Yes.
If people also didn't, if you're not catching any of the details, whānau, remember that you can follow that link, and that's the same information that Simon's sharing with you during this kōrero.
Yeah. Now, Josie, you've Creative HQ has run quite a few events where they've supported different ambitions within different sectors, haven't you? So maybe you could take us through some of the things that you would experience if you attended the in-person event.
Kia ora whānau. So rather than talk about our other mahi at Creative HQ, I encourage you, if you're interested in our rōpū, to jump on the Creative HQ website, just a Google away. But in regards to Te Urungi, I'd like to start this way. E tika ana te kōrero i o tātou tūpuna, nau te roro, nāku te roro, ka ora ai te iwi, hui e tai ki e. So i te reo Pākehā, that whakatauki means with your basket and my basket, the kete will be full. And from our perspective, that is the feeling that will happen for people in the strength of each place, with the range of people and the innovation tools that we will support you with over the weekend. Because we'll all know from the sectors you all work in and create in, you know, it's hard to get the band together for a practice if you're sitting in a tari somewhere, in an office. A practice rooms, however, with the right instruments and your whole band there, suddenly the magic happens. And the same thing with innovation. We get people in a room together, the right people, a range of skill sets, with the right tools and kaiawhina to help them learn to use them, and innovation can happen. And that's what we hope to create for you all. In fact, we really believe we will, for those of you out there who registered to attend Te Urungi events. And just to say, aroha mai, it's feeling a bit awkward talking to a camera here, so I'm really looking forward to kanohi ki te kanohi at these events, so that we can do the whakawhanaungatanga properly. Anything else you think they'd like to know?
So some people will arrive in a team.
Aye.
And if you're not in a team, is there some sort of support to get you into a team?
Aye. And I'll talk also to the time commitment. So it is the best if you can be there for the entire 2.5 days. So on the Friday night, there'll be an evening event, and then mahi on the Saturday, and then Sunday sharing back with the panel from Manatū Taonga and the sector about your idea. We would really like you to bring your idea along, whether you're an individual or a team of up to 5, because when you're in the space for Te Urungi, our kaiawhina can help you form a rōpū, a group, to work together. It doesn't mean you have to work on someone else's idea, but we're talking about collaboration and sharing of knowledge and skills. And we know that mai rānō for forever, that working together collaboratively is a really great way to develop people's skills.
Right, and so there'll be facilitators and mentors and other people in the room. How do they support?
Tika tau. So if you think about the space that we'll be having our events in, for a start, the kind of events we're delivering will feel good. There'll be spaces for quiet reflection. It's not going to be like school where you're stuck to a desk for the mahi sessions. There'll be people there. Say if you have a really awesome idea, but there's a particular aspect of that you don't have the whakaaro or the knowledge about, we'll have people like coders or designers and other pukinga experts available in the room. Plus we have our own networks of contacts where we can, obviously there'll be computers available to do things like Zoom hui if there's other expertise you need to draw in during that time.
And it's not completely prescriptive either, is it? So there's lots of flexibility and you can find your own pathway through it?
Ka, that's exactly it. So we know that with most of our innovation mahi, people have other places to be after those hui. And so you want to get as much done towards your goal in that time frame. So obviously we'll be doing the mahi to get you guys to where you want to be in the development of your idea. Obviously for most of you, that will be getting your idea to a point that can produce an outcome that is going to be sustainable or about increased access and participation or commercialisation or the protection, transmission and retention of mātauranga Māori in the arts, culture and heritage sector. Whew, said it. So for those who want to get their project to that point of applying for the funding, the process will be in place, the people will be in place, the place itself will be supportive for you to do that over the event. For those who actually come away and think, oh, I've got a bit more mahi I'd like to do on my idea or my project, you will come away with connections, more knowledge, collaborative partners that you can go outside of the space and in your communities keep working on your idea if you'd like to do that too.
And some new skills,
Of
potentially,
course.
if this world is new
It's
to
a
you.
mana ki te mana experience. Every one of you out there in the arts, culture and heritage sector will be bringing your own expertise. That's the advantage of having people in the room together. You'll be able to share yours, other people will be able to share theirs, and you'll all come away having learned something.
And we're particularly excited at Manatū Tonga about the possibility of collaboration. People that come into these events will be tackling together on a kind of more of a global scale, as a cohort, if you like, these ambitions of more sustainability, resilience, commercialisation, access, and the preservation and support of Mātauranga Māori. So you are there with your idea, forming a group of people who will focus in on that idea, get support to develop it. Then there's an opportunity to share that idea with Manatū Tonga for the possibility of seed funding or the possibility of full project funding. And this is all in the context of us working together to see what we can do for arts, culture and heritage in Aotearoa.
Kia ora.
Yeah. And the collective impact of all 14 events is something that I'm very excited to see.
Okay, I've got another one for you, Simon. We've had someone ask, what if I miss out on registration?
Okay, so the registration process, it opens and then it runs until it's full. And so if you missed out on registering for the Wellington event, then we would encourage you to register for the one of the online events. If those things fill up as well, then we will be looking into that. If you are in Tamaki Makaurau or somewhere in Te Waipounamu, then we would encourage you not to register for the Wellington event. Please wait until that has been announced and register for the event that is nearest to you.
Kia ora. And there's been some interest in how do you know if this is the right fund for you? I know at the start of the day you said that there were, start of our hui I should say, you said that there were other areas of funding Manatū Tonga.
Oh, that's right. I see. So if you're thinking about the cultural regeneration funds at Manatū Tonga and wondering if innovation is the right one for you and it's perhaps not feeling right, then do look on the website at the Care Fund, which has just opened the cultural installations and events, especially if you're wanting to produce a work, produce an event to actually connect your work with audiences in Aotearoa.
So I'm not sure if anyone out there wants to recover. We've had another question come through on the private messages about how the ideas will be judged. So from an event perspective, as we've kind of mentioned, there will be an opportunity to share back to a panel who will then make recommendations to Manatū Tonga. I guess you've already discussed that focusing on the fund outcomes is the best way to think about
That's
this
right.
at the time.
But it'd be important to note that your project or your idea does not have to meet all 4 of those objectives.
Kia ora.
It doesn't need to be commercialisation, sustainability and resilience, access and mātauranga Māori. It can be one of those things. And the processes, the sector, when we went to the sector in September, they said make it collaborative, make it different. So this is actual time to sit down with the evaluation panel on the Sunday and discuss your project. It's quite different from what many of us are used to out in the cultural sector of having to write an application, sending it off to an organisation, and then maybe one day, if you're lucky, you find out who the panel was that maybe get some comments back from them. This is quite different. You're actually going to be in the room. We don't think this is going to be a high-pressure environment. The panel will be trying to understand the stage of development that a project's at, trying to understand the idea and the potential impact that it will have across those 4 outcomes. And from there they'll take that information and they'll work out whether or not it's something that can be funded within the context of what we're trying to achieve for Aotearoa. Of course, it is a contestable fund. We haven't got a bottomless pit, unfortunately, so of course we'll have to be working out what the best use of the funds are. But I think that if you come to the event and you don't quite land a project or it doesn't find its way into being one of the ones that's funded, there could be lots of other outcomes that come from this. The opportunity to be with the sector in your region, discussing these big problems, coming away with those tools. There's even the potential that some teams might come away with ideas that find funding from other sources. So we're really hoping that it instigates all kind of other activity. The fund that we have, the money that we have to put to projects is a critical part of this. We're really serious about creating outcomes which do have a massive impact. That's a big deal. But there could be all kinds of other ways that projects are supported to get funded.
So for those people who want to know, ooh, this sounds really great for me to be able to whiti kōrero, to share with the panel, to discuss what my idea is about. Is there any more information you can give them about exactly what the panel will be looking for?
Yes, eventually there will be quite a lot of detail about how projects are evaluated, and there will be, especially at the events, there will be quite a lot of information about that. So projects will be supported to be able to present. Their facilitators will help them work out how to present their information so that Manatū Tonga can consider it. But even then, there's quite a lot of flexibility as well. So we don't want, some projects may feel comfortable writing things down, making presentations, going down that route. Others might feel more comfortable just talking about things. So it's quite an open way that it actually happens in this conversation environment, but the actual details of the evaluation criteria, that will be eventually released.
Fantastic. And I know you've talked about it a little bit with the in-person events compared with our online events.
Mm-hmm.
Did you want to go revisit that at all, whānau out there? Feel free to let us know in terms of the level of development.
Yeah, it is a tricky one, isn't it? What does it mean? How confident am I that my project is actually validated, tested, and what does that even mean? Because there will be people out there that have gone through a situation where they thought that they had everything ready to go. They'd taken their project and they tested it in the market space. They looked for competitors, tried to understand what risks there were and all the rest of it, and perhaps missed something and realised they actually needed to go back into development. I think that people who have got fully developed projects will kind of know what we mean, and really it is, our project is ready to go into development. $20,000 seed funding to continue to explore the idea is not the stage we're at. We're beyond that stage. We actually now need to build a prototype. We now need to engage expertise, some technical expertise, legal advice, other things beyond just getting advice, but actually building something. We're ready to trial it. We might even be ready to actually launch whatever it is, whatever kind of venture it is. So those are the people that should come to that online event.
Kia ora.
And the ones that should come to the regional events perhaps have an idea that's untested, but do think about it. You know, do your own sort of testing if you can, research. You know, we want to support new and emerging ideas. And that's not limited to things that are completely new either. So it may be that there is something that exists somewhere in the world, but it doesn't exist in Aotearoa, and the innovation is to bring it here and to make a New Zealand version of that. That's going to be powerful for our practitioners. Or it could even be on a regional basis. It might be something that exists in other regions and doesn't exist regionally. And with all of those ideas, you know, where could they go? You know, keep the mind open. What is the potential of these ideas? How can they fly? You know, and it may be the smallest idea with the smallest impact initially that ends up being the thing in 20 years that changes everything.
That's right, and I can speak to that from an events perspective too. So with the online events, people might be wondering, well, so how does mahi work in those online wānanga if you've never been in one? Though most people might have done something like that over the last year. So similarly to the in-person events, the kaupapa, the feeling in the room, we'll do our best, and we have done over the last year, to deliver that same feeling. So being able to collaborate online is still possible with what we call breakout rooms in digital sessions. We're still able to have our experts, our mentors who come in. We can still use tools of innovation in an online context as well. So for those more developed projects where they're thinking, what will the day involve for our online events? We'll get the same sorts of feelings that people in the in-person events will get, and the same learning too. It's just that your project might already be a bit more developed, so we would tailor the learning to that too.
Kia ora. I think we've had a question come through here. Can charities, not-for-profit Māori trusts, organisations apply for these funds?
Kia ora, Adele, for your pātai.
Yeah, kia ora, Adele. So registrations are open to anyone that works in the arts, culture and heritage sector, and also in entrepreneurs, tech sector, community organisations and others. Teams are limited to up to 5.
Aye.
Those teams of 5 can come representing an organisation. That is totally fine. So organisations can register, but they must nominate the 5 people that are attending. It doesn't have to be 5. It could be less people, less than 5. It's anyone really. It is really seriously open to anyone who has a deep interest and is motivated to support the arts, culture and heritage sector, and that is in any medium.
Cool, so if we had some of our whānau out there who are in the interactive media, is that what they call it these days?
Interactive media, yes.
Might call them gamers, and they're wondering if, is this a space that's open for me too, because I've got an awesome idea. What do you reckon, Simon?
That's totally fine, as long as it's in the space of arts, culture and heritage.
And that their idea focuses on those 4 outcome areas you're talking about?
Yeah.
Not all 4?
That's right, it doesn't have to be all 4. The only thing to note is that because it's funded through other areas, the aspect of culture, which is sport, is not included.
Kia ora.
So, for example, if there was an interactive media project, a gaming project that was focused on a sports game, I'm not so sure, but who knows? If you can see arts, culture and heritage content somewhere in it, then perhaps. We've got a question from Kay Marie Dunn. I know. Kia ora, Kay Marie. What does she say? What's the IP protection that will be in place for participants at Te Urungi? That is a good question. So we know it's a really important issue. We've had lots of talk about it, and what we're going to be doing is providing advice and guidance to projects that come on how to protect and support them to navigate issues around IP. And there's going to be sessions on protecting the IP in the event. These events are really sharing open events, and people act, in our experience, don't they, quite responsibly around IP. There is no requirement for the IP of anything that's developed to be shared with anybody. There's no requirement, certainly no requirement, for it to be shared with Manatū Tonga, and absolutely no interest from Manatū Tonga in having any kind of investment in an event which requires some sort of return or some rights from the IP. So there'll be, so just repeat that, so there'll be people to give guidance and advice and support to the teams so that they can understand how to protect the IP at the event, and there'll be no requirement to share that IP with anybody else.
Aye. Oh, another one for you. Jeepers, eh? Lucky me. Okay, this one is from Piripi. Kia ora, Piripi. Piripi would like to know how to get some funding to help with the development and design of his project. I think this will probably come back a little bit, Simon, to the kōrero about have a little think about what your project intends to achieve, what across those areas you mentioned. Did you want to?
That's right. So the project needs to be hitting those three outcomes: sustainability and resilience, commercialisation, or access and participation, or the support and safeguarding of Mātauranga Māori. In order to be able to get some funding to help with the development of the design. In order to access the funding, this is really important, you need to register for one of the events, either the in-person event in the regions or the online event. That's the pathway to do it. For want of a much better way of putting this, if you think about the application process as being there, being part of them. So that is really important. And if it is an idea that just needs some development, then attending one of the regional events is the right place for you to go.
And Piripi, shall I mention also what you said to us earlier, that if you're in another rohe around the motu, taihoa, Manatū Tonga will get to you?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Kia ora.
The spaces at these events will be pretty precious. We've got a question from Teresa.
Let me ask it. Don't give away my tough question gig here.
No.
Thank you. All right. Teresa wants me to ask you, Simon. If applications are only open to people who have attended events, do the projects have to be tabled at those events, or is there a separate application process after the events? Good pātai, Teresa. Kia ora.
Yes. So you do need to attend the events, and yes, you do need to table your ideas at the events. However, there will be a chance to provide some supplementary information for the panel to consider a few days later. But things are going to happen quite fast. So we have published, I think, on our website that we will let projects that would like seed funding, we will let them know if they've been successful for that within 4 weeks of the event. So you do really need to come, and we're going to be supported to do this. You're going to be in a supportive environment to be able to come prepared to share your project with the evaluation panel. And then through that, you will get feedback and support from your facilitator to understand, based on what you're trying to achieve, what other information might be helpful to send through to that evaluation panel, who will quite literally be meeting within days of meeting you at the event. And we really want to do that so that you've come to this event, you've had this experience, you've developed your idea, you've shared it with the panel, and you know pretty much within 4 weeks whether or not we're going to be able to support you for development.
And so I think that's a great answer. I think we should come back to the point you made earlier, Simon, just checking in, will they get a chance to know those criteria that they would like to share with the panel? And we'd just be careful, a little bit careful about the tabling word, because I know that tabling it might give you the impression that it's again having to fill in a very, very detailed form and then table it to the panel. Carl, it won't be that. Sharing back your proposal to the panel, as Simon has said, may be possible in quite a few ways. But they will get to know the details of that after they register. Tika, is that right?
Yeah, there's going to be a second round of information put out pretty soon.
Awesome. Yeah. So you'll hear more. It'll come out soon, Teresa. Okay. Right. Sabine, kia ora. You've got a question for Simon too. Are there qualification criteria to get into the event?
No, there's not. I think there is only about 4 or 5 questions on the Eventbrite form that you will fill out if you want to register to get into the event. They're open to anyone with an innovative idea with the potential to deliver to one of the outcomes. So it's really up to you to think about, is this the right place for me? Have I got an idea? Do I want to participate? If I'm part of part of an idea that goes into development, will I have the time to commit to it? Will I want to be part of it? Yeah. Just lost our place.
Sorry, I'm having tech difficulties scrolling the computer screen that has our questions. I did ask some of our beautiful helpers and moderators here to hand me bits of paper with the questions on whānau. But once Simon fixes my mistake, here we go, Sabine.
This is from...
Cool. Oh no, we've got another one from Joe. Okay.
Another one from Joe?
Oh no.
Doesn't matter.
Te pātai tuatahi from Joe. First question from Joe. All right. So I'll ask it and then maybe you can answer and maybe I can.
Yeah.
The question is it okay to participate if you don't have an idea but you want to support other people's ideas? We're a team of VR, AR developers, designers and artists that can support and advise on other people's ideas. And we also have some of our own ideas though. Kia ora, Joe.
Yes, excellent. It is okay to attend, absolutely. And the team here is suggesting that you actually contact us directly, send us a message, and we might connect you with Josie and your team at CHQ about that.
So yes. I'm not sure what area of the motu you're in, Joe, your team, but sounds like the mahi you do is really interesting. And like I said earlier, there'll be the people who are wanting to apply to the fund and be part of the events to develop their own idea. And then in the events, we will also have supporters such as yourself and experts with particular subject matter expertise. I note you and your team said you also have some ideas. So there are those 2 avenues open to you in your region. If you do actually get together after this hui or the one on Monday night, get your workmates onto it and decide, actually, we do want to develop an idea that's relevant to those sector outcomes, then register to be a participant in the event. If you do decide that your guys' expertise would be more focused around the supporting role, then we can get in touch with you to have a kōrero about what role there might be possible for you at the events around the country.
Sounds great. Here's a question for you, Josie, from Paula.
Kia ora, Paula.
Will this be like a Lion's Den format?
Kau. So, or as you can hear from Simon's kōrero about what Manatū Taonga would like for our people out there in the arts, culture and heritage sector to do by the end of the events is to share back. That's why we're trying to avoid terms like Lion's Den, Dragon's Den, having to table proposals, because the way you're going to be able to share with that panel will be at your comfort level. The whole idea of having this mahi over an entire weekend is that you don't have to have done all the mahi at home yourself and then you have to front up to an interview with a panel. That actually, with the supportive environment, particularly on the Friday and the Saturday, the start, and the kaiawhina, your other arts, culture and heritage sector community members who are there, you will get lots of chances both to learn about what Manatū Taonga expects in terms of delivery of funding at those 2 tiers, and to actually practice what you would like to share back with them. So it's definitely not a quick front up with a project, and instead of doing it in an online application form, stand in front of us and tell us about it now. Carl.
And there's quite a few principles that, if you come to the event, you'll get to know that are underpinning the way that the interactions and things will happen. And one of them is we're all there to learn, and that includes Manatū Taonga as well. And we're going to be listening, understanding. We'll be learning as much as anybody who attends these events. So I really feel like it's going to be a supportive environment. And we'd be failing if it turns into a lion. It felt anything like a lion's den. It's not going to be like that.
Okay, well, it sounds like Andy has got another follow-up question along similar lines, and since you're on a roll, you're going to answer this one too. All right, kia ora, Andy. You want me to ask Simon, have you or will you publish who will be on the panel, in particular what role they'll play or what area of interest they might represent?
Yes, we are going to publish the names of the panel members ahead of the first event. And the panel is going to be 3 people. It's going to be, at least 3 people. And it's going to comprise a person who has good general knowledge of the arts, cultural and heritage sectors across Aotearoa. Somebody who has worked in the world of, has good knowledge about innovation and the development of ideas in the innovative context, and then someone who can bring a te ao Māori, kaupapa Māori perspective. So just to remind that it's an important part of this fund to be focused on the retention, transmission, support and growth of mātauranga Māori, which will be a big focus of the fund.
Kia ora.
So those are the elements of the selection panel. Thank you, Andy.
Oh,
Right.
okay. Oh, okay, I'll ask this one again. Man, Simon's being put on the spot, guys.
No, we
Good
can
effort, whānau. This question is from Steve. Steve wants to know, will there be areas that miss out, Simon? We're a bit worried about the main centres being served. Go tell us about our regions out there. And Chair Steve, I see that you're asking particularly about Te Rohe or Te Taitokerau, Northland.
Aha. Kia ora, Steve. We don't. No, we hope not. We're going to 14 places around Aotearoa. We are going to be somewhere in Canterbury. We are, of course, going to be going to Auckland and to Wellington. But in addition to that, we'll be in Manatū Whanganui area in Southland, Otago, Tamaki Makaurau, Taranaki, Marlborough and Nelson, Hawke's Bay, Bay of Plenty, West Coast, Gisborne, Waikato and
Te Taitokerau, Northland.
Northland.
We would never leave you out, Te Whanota.
Yeah, it's going to be fabulous to go into all of those unique communities. Really interesting to see who registers for events in those locations.
Yeah.
Be very interesting to see if the outcomes from all of these different events are similar, if they're quite different, quite related to the local area. There'll be partnership with mana whenua in every space.
Aye.
And that will bring an interesting lens and a framing to how things are developed over that weekend. So just sitting back at 40,000 feet and looking at all of these wonderful collective conversations right around Aotearoa, 14 deep thinking moments to think about the future of this sector right around Aotearoa. It's a really significant opportunity. It's very exciting.
And we know that each region has different flavours, different needs, different desires. So though the judging criteria, of course, would be the same everywhere, in terms of your passions and desires and ideas out in the rohe, those will be catered for by having us out there to meet you where you're at too.
That's right. And to have great local knowledge in the room. And it will also be very interesting, I think, to see whether there are some similarities between each of these communities and where the communities bring ideas based on local knowledge and experience, but with the potential to impact all of Aotearoa, or potentially even share something globally.
As you said, so it doesn't have to be, if I'm up in Te Taitokerau and I'm an artist or cultural practitioner and my idea is about something that might be relevant to Tamaki Makaurau, that won't limit me from attending the event.
No, it's a good question. So you don't need to attend the event if your idea is related to a specific region.
Yep.
And it's not the region where you live, then you should attend the event in the region that you live.
That will make life easier for our participants.
Yes. And that's the other reason that we are going to 14 regions in Aotearoa. It's just simply about access.
Yeah.
I know it's a big commitment to be there this is for the regional events, to be there the Friday, the Saturday and the Sunday. So we're aware of that. But it is important that you are there for those 3 days. I think that anyone that signs up probably won't want to miss it anyway. It's a pretty wonderful opportunity to get together with other like-minded people to look for opportunities and tackle some problems.
All right, Simon, we've got our last partai.
Last
Don't
question.
forget, whānau, that if there's some whakaaro, some knowledge that you feel you didn't quite catch, you've got the website you can go back to, but also we've got our other online event on Monday from 7 till 8. But the last question, I'm going to put it back to you, Simon, for the last time on this day. This question is from first name of person. See what you did there. All right. Do we need to prepare a draft kind of budget and bring with us if we're attending?
If you're registering for the first online event, remember the online event is for the projects that are developed, then this is one of the things that you'll need to bring to the event. If you're attending a regional event, it's not required. But if you already have some sort of budget or some sort of idea around expenses, then bring it along. In fact, bring anything along to that event. You might have mood boards, you might have a whole bunch of saved links to things that you bring. If you're thinking about an idea, bring your resources. Bring everything.
And I think that last point there is that, for those that don't, and you are coming to an in-person event, if it's something that you're able to work on during that time, we have the skills and connections there in the room to help you do that.
Kia ora, thanks for your questions.
All right, do you want to, we can do a bit of a wrap-up, a summary before we close with our karakia whakamutunga?
Yeah.
Cool, do you want to wrap us up?
So to remind, registrations for Wellington open on the 14th of April at 10 a.m. on the Manatū Taonga website, which is www.mch.govt.nz. As Josie has just said, we have another live session on Monday at 7 p.m. So, whānau, if there's other people out there who you think should know about this and perhaps haven't heard it, please let them know. Share this event. This is also going to be produced on Facebook on Monday. We'll be going over the same information. One of this session or the other session, probably the one where I make the least amount of mistakes, will get downloaded from Facebook and put up onto YouTube.
We can consider this our dress rehearsal, Simon. If you want to come back on Monday night, we'll be even better.
Yeah. Should we swap places on Monday night?
No.
No, I'm the same. I think I want to stay in the same place. So you can continue to put questions into the comments, and the wonderful team here at Manatū Taonga will answer those questions for you.
Thanks, Katie and Hannah. They've been off screen and they've been monitoring the thread so that we can just kōrero.
Yeah, here, sitting in front of this amazing Richard Colleen.
Awesome. Hey, we can't wait to see what you create. And, okay, Simon, karakia whakamutunga. Kia ora whānau.
Yes, kia ora whānau. The karakia should be placed in the comments if you would like to join us. Unuhia, atara te pūtake o ngā kōrero. Kia waitea te hino naro. Kia nā kau te kaha tonu. Kia mau tono ki te hongona tangata. Whakarea e rongo kia pātara a whare. Kia whakamaua, kia tina.
Tina.
Huie.
Tai kie.
Kia ora koutou. See you soon.